Hey lads and ladies, I'm the Jawesome one, and I wanted to go over something that I learned today. So it's kind of related to my channel and how I've not been uploading all the time. It's not a very common issue that I've been experiencing. I used to have it happen all the time, and I blamed it on something that I shouldn't have been blaming it on. I should have actually investigated it and tried to figure out what the cause was instead of just jumping to conclusions. What I'm talking about is I keep experiencing a blue screen of death, a BSOD. This may happen to you sometimes too, but I wanted to go over what I did to at least find out what my problem is and what you should do to do the research on your own end, because again, Windows is such a complicated thing, and there's many different kinds of problems and many different kinds of ways to solve them. The really simple solution is just go to Windows support. That's the best advice I can give you. Go to Windows support and look up what you can there. The virtual agents, I gotta admit, are not the most helpful. Sometimes you'll, if you go to them and you type up like, oh, my problem is a blue screen of death, and then it'll give you a link to a certain article or whatever, and it may not tell you all the info. So it can be kind of difficult to find the answers that you're looking for. But in my case, this time the virtual agent actually did help me, and I'm gonna go over more stuff that I did to help me understand more things about how to fix this problem. Actually, I closed out of everything. Oh, this is going to take me a little while to open it back up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go full screen here, or I'm going to switch over to my screen. I'm going to show you guys what I found. Oh, hold on, I have to I think this works. Yeah, here we go. So here's my screen. You can see OBS here. So I want to show you guys something called the Microsoft Management Console. If you're experiencing any kinds of computer problems, the MMC is your friend. This is, it's just like the image on the box here shows. Also, that sounded like it came from my TV and not through my headset. That shouldn't be happening. Says all sounds are coming through my speakers, so I don't know why that sounded like it came from the screen, but okay. But yeah, okay, so here's the services that I have set up, and you're welcome to copy this if you want to with your own MMC. If you want to find it, it's pretty easy. Just hold the Windows key on your keyboard. That's the, it's the key with the symbols on it. You hold that and then you press R. And there's all sorts of commands you can type in here, and they pull up all kinds of things. Like, as you can see here, I have msconfig because I recently did like a sort of cleaning of my computer, just looking for unnecessary files and getting rid of them. And it's very helpful. There are other videos on that, so I'm not really going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about is the MMC, or you don't need a full case site. So I've typed it out before, and there you go. That opens it up for you automatically. So once you open it up, there we go. Once you open it up, you can actually, I don't see where it is actually. Hold on. There should be a place. I don't remember how I did it, but there's a way that you can take the Microsoft Management Console and you can just build a shortcut for it. I think you just have it tell you where you're, where it is. Yeah, there we go. You can click on this here, and I'm pretty sure that takes you right to where it is. You can just create a shortcut, and then click and drag it onto your desktop. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm gonna assume you know how to do that. But yeah, here are all the different tools that I use for computer management. There's probably other ones that are very helpful as well. But I'm mostly gonna discuss with you guys the event viewer. And I'm probably gonna have to blur out some things because I bet this is gonna show like personal info that's very serious. It's very important. And if I just let you guys see it, then there's a chance that it could be used as a gateway for somebody who wants to do me ill harm. And so I'm going to be careful about what I show you guys here, but let's open it up. And let's go ahead and full screen it here. Okay. So this is what happened. This is what it looks like after it's done loading. I loaded it up earlier, so it took me no time at all. But for you, it might take a little while because this loads up all of the mistakes, all of the errors that are within the past 7 days. If you need to go back further, there's probably not a problem, or yeah, there's probably not a reason to go back any further, right? Because if you had a critical error like 2 months ago and you're not having it anymore, chances are whatever problem you were dealing with has been fixed. But for me, I was receiving quite often these critical errors. And this is back when my computer was in the basement. It was very prominent of a problem. I was getting this error about 4 or 5 times a week. So that's almost once, sometimes 2 times a day. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. I could be in the middle of literally anything. Sometimes I thought it was me. Sometimes I thought that my computer was just sensitive and that me getting up from my chair was what did it. Because sometimes that's when it would happen, is I would just get up from my chair after, you know, closing things and setting my computer to basically idle mode while I go upstairs and do whatever. But it turns out that that has more to do with, well, my case specifically has more to do with power, and I'm going to show you guys what I learned about it here. So you can click the plus icon on it here, and that tells you a lot of very useful information. So you can see here, it's event ID 41. The source is kernel power. It is a system log, and I've actually had 3 of these within the past week. Yeah, it's kind of a problem, and I think it has more to do with the area that I live in. I live in the central part of the United States, which means it's very vulnerable to things like tornadoes, and it's not as well. The area that I live in particular is not as well developed as some of the major cities. You know, this isn't like Oklahoma City or Kansas City, or what's another big city? Maybe Topeka. Maybe? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how big Topeka is. I don't think I've ever been to Topeka. Or maybe I have. I don't know. It's been a while. But if you want more information, of course, you can right-click on it and go view all instances, right? And then you want to go to the top one to look at the most recent. And then you can double-click it, and it'll pull up this other smaller little window here. And it'll give you a little bit more information. This system has rebooted without cleanly shutting down first. This error could be caused if the system stopped responding, crashed, or lost power unexpectedly. So event 41 has everything to do with power. There is something wrong with power. But you also need to pay attention to your blue screen of death when it happens, because there's all kinds of reasons that you can experience a blue screen of death. I've seen 2 different types of messages on my blue screen of death, because you actually, whenever you receive them, there's like a little frowny face at the bottom, but then somewhere in the middle, kind of on the left side, there's like a little box, and it'll say a bunch of other things. And I'm never really quick enough to jot down and really remember what everything it says is, but here are the 2 that I have been quick enough to jot down so far. System thread exception not handled, and faulty hardware. Faulty hardware. And that right there is what the source of all of this is. There is something wrong. And there's something wrong with the power supply. So event 41 tells you the problem is you're not getting power. And then the blue screen of death is telling you, hey, because of this strange power issue you're having, sometimes it's as simple as just not getting enough power in the right place at the right time for your CPU to be able to recognize it. It's not like, because it's not like my system is full on crashing. It's not going black. It's just going straight to the blue screen of death. So what we call that in the IT world is we call that, I believe we call that, what do we call that? You know what a power spike is? It's kind of the opposite of that. I believe they call it a browning, a power brownage, where it's like it doesn't really shut down, it just sort of dips. You dip in power a little bit, and that, I believe, is what's causing my blue screen of death errors. we don't have the best power in my area, and I believe that's what's causing all these crashes. And this is really bad for your system in the long term. So if you're experiencing these crashes like I am, do what I'm gonna do. Go out there and get an uninterruptible power supply. Those things are expensive, but it is worth it. If you're experiencing things like brownouts and you're experiencing blue screens of death, and you go to your event properties here, you go to your event viewer and you see, okay, it's an event 41, it's kernel power. Get an uninterruptible power supply and connect your PC to both it and your main power line, and then your UPS will save your computer from being utterly ruined by power spikes, by power surges, and by brownouts, and then by blackouts. Yeah. Okay, then I feel like I should explain this in case some of you guys may not know what all these definitions are. Your power is supposed to pretty much be at a certain level. Every single power line in your home, coming out of every power outlet, is supposed to be at a certain wattage, and your computer needs to be able to access that wattage, otherwise it's going to die. And so you're receiving this constant stream of power, and there's a max amount of power that can come through it before problems occur, and the same goes with a minimum amount of power. But sometimes, due to a lack of quality of the cords and of the power generators, sometimes you can experience 4 different kinds of things that causes the power, the wattage that you receive, to spike up a lot or dip down. So I already explained to you that dipping down but not completely running out is a brownout. Well, a blackout is if it dips all the way down completely and then it stays that way for a certain amount of time. If it stays that way for a little bit, there is a term for that and then comes back. Or if it goes down into a blackout and it stays that way for a super long time, that's the one that's really, really scary, because it's much harder to fix things, because it's like ruining businesses and it's shutting down people's servers. And just it's expensive. Time is money. You know the phrase, time is money. And then there's 2 other types that do the opposite. There's power spikes, where it just shoots up, but not enough to really break anything. Maybe enough to cause a blue screen of death for some cases, but generally they're not the worst thing that happens. It is scary though. It is concerning because it causes a very unnecessary amount of energy to come through into your system, and that can cause things like overheating and damage to wires. But again, that's not really the worst thing you can see compared to the other 4. In my opinion, power spikes are the least worrisome of the 4. And then power surges are actually scarier than blackouts. Power surges are far more dangerous because of the reasons I described earlier. They damage cords, they damage computer components. They can even full-on break them if it's bad enough. These power surges are so strong, it shuts things down and effectively causes something akin to a blackout. Because of, I can't remember all the details behind what causes it or what you can do to fix it, but that's all I can say about that. And there are different types of UPSs that you can get, some of which come with a built-in kill switch, so that it can recognize that a power surge is hitting and it will stop, it will cut off power, and instead will run off its own battery to power your computer and your systems, your servers, your whatever, so you can keep doing what you're doing and not have problems. So, now that we've gotten the event viewer out of the way, what do? Well, you open up your Windows, whatever, your Internet Explorer, your Mozilla Firefox, your Google Chrome, your DuckDuckGo, your whatever, and you go support.microsoft.com. And of course, this is if you're using a Windows computer like me. If you're using Linux, go to the Linux support group. And I don't know the website for that. You're gonna have to do some searching and find it. I don't know that, but this is to help you guys out. So there we go. This is the official Microsoft support site. So now you just type in, okay, I'm dealing with event, what is it? Yeah. Event ID 41. And it will straight up tell you here on the website. Look at this. Windows kernel event ID 41 error. The system has rebooted. And there's even like community suggestions here, like this one. See right here, there's an answer. Somebody said, hey, I'm dealing with an event 41. This is my bug check code. And then I'm also going to show you guys how to do this too. This is really important for debugging at an administrative level, and it's very important if you want to let Microsoft know what's going on with your crashes. Maybe you're like me and you've experienced these more than once. Well, you can click right here. You can go ask a question, and then you can type up. You say I have a problem, and then you can just simply take the critical error here. Let's double click on it, right? And it goes up to general. Then you click on details. So there's the friendly view, right? And this is how things look. But you want, for debugging purposes, is the XML view. This is the one that gives you all the debugging information that you really need. Friendly view does work just fine for the most part, but for things that are really complicated, an XML view works best. It provides the most information. So you just simply click and drag. Maybe you even want to right click and click select all. And then you just want to, ask a question, say, hey, here's my problem. And then maybe even go a bit further and give a bit more detail, like this is a brand new computer, or this is what I recently did, because the problem may not be the power line. It could be your own components. It could be your own power supply that has maybe a cord somewhere that's damaged. It could be your CPU that's damaged. There's a great number of things that could be related. So it's very important that you let Microsoft know what's going on here. But for testing purposes, I'm going to assume, because I don't actually fully know what the cause is. This is not enough to know what the cause is, at least for somebody like me, and probably for somebody like you too. I'm no expert on coding, and I don't know enough to actually tell you what all this information, all of it is useful, but you can go to the Microsoft website and they will help you. So, okay, so what else can you do? Well, they have a virtual agent. And check it out. I'm going to show you exactly what I did to get my problem resolved. I said, hey, critical error, event ID 41. This is what I typed. So go, here's what I think you're talking about. Troubleshoot blue screen error in Windows 10. This can help for you, but it didn't help in my case. So I'm going to say no, because I already checked that out. So here's what I think you're asking about. Fix error OXEF critical process died. Now this part right here is pretty important. OXEF, that is the hexadecimal for the error you're experiencing. But mine, here, it's actually pretty hard to get a grasp on in this view. Yeah, see, mine is bug check code 299. And I already did the math on it, or the whatever you want to say. It does not turn into OXEF. It turns into OX12B. So that's what mine is. Here's what I think you're asking about. Windows 7. Nope, mine is not a Windows 7. Found this article, Windows kernel event error 41. The system has rebooted. So I went and clicked and read this full article. And I think you guys saw this one earlier being recommended when I first typed it up in the community. And then it goes through and it goes into detail about what things you can do to get this fixed. This right here was super helpful for me. This whole thing right here told me a lot about how to understand specifically what my problem is. And again, there's more if you go to the community and you look it up. So there you go. I hope you learned something with me today. But again, I want you guys to know I'm not an expert about any of these kinds of things. If you're having problems, I mean, you're more than welcome to leave them down in the comments, but I'm not an expert about this. The best thing to do is do your own research. Contact Microsoft. Maybe even get a friend or a family member who knows more about computers than you and see if they know anything that can help. I myself may try to help, but which is entirely what I created my Discord. Well, not entirely what I created, but I have a Discord server, and there is a section there that's about troubleshooting errors. If you're experiencing technical support issues and you need someone to talk to who can help, maybe you've tried everything and you just can't find the solution. Well, I may not be the biggest expert out there, but maybe I can help you. So I want you to come on my Discord. It's going to be easier for me to talk to you and keep track of everything on my Discord that way. So there you go. I hope this video helped you out. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye-bye.